So, someone made a comment saying that asking for like a sort of combo tutorial, and I guess Infernity, at least the way I built it, probably does need a kind of a little bit of a tutorial. So, a little bit refresher. Infernity is essentially a deck that gains effects when you have no cards in the hand, which sometimes is very hard to do. And this deck does have a chance of breaking, but with the build I've sort of made, essentially I try to capitalize on the lack of once per turns and while not breaking in the same process, which with this build I don't break that often, which is very surprising on how I thought it would be. So I feel like I kind of found like the good balance for that. So we got a Succession, Tour Guide, Necromancer, Callby, and Fogblade for the opening hand, which is not bad. First we want to set the Fogblade and set Succession. Now I'll use the effect, or not the effect, I'll normal summon Tour Guide and use the effect of Tour Guide to summon Necromancer. Then I will special summon Cherubini, and I'll use the effect of Cherubini. This will go to grave to send I'd like to send the Hyras to grab the Archfiend Hyras. Unfortunately, we have normal summoned, so instead I will send the Conjurer, because at least we can make some plays with it in the meantime. So now I use Succession to special summon the Archfiend, or not the Necromancer. Then Necromancer will allow us to special summon a Infernity monster from the graveyard, but we have to have nothing in hand to activate it, so we're going to have to set the Call by the Grave. That goes grave. So we're going to special the Conjurer. Now, the one cool thing with this, once we get to this point, it becomes a little bit harder. Because we can try to go for like a multi-negate board, but that's not very likely to happen. I actually don't think we can at this point. But we can always fall back on the Rusty, so we can get like 2 Fog Blades. And we can also go for an Apollosa as well. Fortunately, Rusty, you cannot link summon with it. I really don't know why, but you can't. Doesn't make much sense, but that's how it is. So I'll special summon the blocker using Cherubini and Conjurer, which will allow me to set that to the field, so I'll just add it for hand for now, and then I can Foolish my Ancient Cloak. So then I'll set the Fogblade. Now I can use the effect of Ancient Cloak to banish itself to add 1 Phantomized card from deck to hand. To add another Fogblade. 3 Fogblades. So now I will set the Fogblades, and I'll use the effect of Infernity Conjurer to special summon itself from the grave. Can't really go into Apollosa, unfortunately, because of the Rusty's, because Rusty cannot be used as a link material, which is really unfortunate. But we do have plays. Oh, so that's how we overlay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 negates. So getting to multiple negates, very easy. Although we weren't really able to get our Infernity Launcher or the Infernity Archfiend into Cyclation, which, if we can't really get into those 2 cards, unfortunately our plays are going to be a lot more limited, and we can't go into like an 8, 9 plus negate board. But we can still like get around 2 Fog Blades, maybe an Ashura King or Cicada King or something like that. So we're always going to have multiple negates, even most likely in the worst scenarios. Well, a worse scenario would be absolutely nothing, but then again, like, this is still a fairly decent board. Next hand is that's actually a pretty good hand. So first, I'll set that. Activate the effect of Nessie. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In that order. So I always hit the Nessie on Dueling Book for some reason. Okay, I don't know why. But we can use the Nessie to grab the snake, Tsuchinoko. So declare it. And the same 1 through 3, or 1 through 6. So we hit our Infernity Archfiend, which is pretty good. So we will special summon Tsuchinoko and draw 1 card. I will normal the Tour Guide, use the effect Tour Guide, which will, let's see, I will special the Necromancer. Fortunately, I can't use this effect right away, but that is perfectly fine. And then I will special Patriarch for my hand, just so it's not in my hand anymore. And then I will link away into the Cherubini. Then I'll use the effect to mill Foolish the Conjurer. So at least we have extensions. So all in all, this is pretty good. Like, we can get into a multi-negate board pretty good. Because now I can activate the World Legacy Succession to special Necromancer. Well, actually, it'd be right here. Then I'll use the effect of Necromancer to special the Infernity Archfiend. And Archfiend will allow me to add. We can add any Infernity card, like we can go for Barrier, but the play we're going to want to go for is the Infernity Launcher. So, there's multiple different plays we can go for, but the one I'm going to go for is Saryuja. So, I'm going to use the Cherubini, Tsuchinoko, the Infernity Archfiend, and the Necromancer to special summon there's Saryuja. Now Saryuja will allow us to draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's actually a perfect draw. We do right into Mirage. So we're keeping Launcher Mirage. So to bottom of deck, to bottom of deck, to bottom. So we'll use the effect of Saryuja to special the Mirage. Then we'll use the effect of Mirage to special Necromancer and Infernity Archfiend. Now I'll use the effect of Infernity Archfiend to add another Infernity card. We start getting into our barriers, but what I'm going to do instead is to get another Necromancer. Now we haven't used this Necromancer, so I will activate my Infernity Launcher, use this effect to send my Necromancer to grave. Now I will link summon. I will go for, it really doesn't matter, I'll probably just go for Dark, using the Infernity Archfiend and the Patriarch. Or no. Or yeah. So now I'll use the effect of Necromancer to special summon Infernity Archfiend. Now I'll use Infernity Archfiend's effect to grab me Infernity Barrier. Now I will I'll probably just go into IP using Necromancer and the Infernity Archfiend. Obviously that'll go right there. Then we can use the launcher effect, which can send itself to the graveyard to special summon 2 Infernities to the field, aka your 2 Necromancer. So I'll use the effect of this Necromancer to special summon the Infernity Archfiend. Then the Archfiend will, or actually before we do that we'd have to set that. Should have set it like maybe a couple turns ago, but, or not a couple turns, a couple moves ago, but. So we would add another Infernity Barrier, because like the rest of the Infernities, not a hard ones per turn. So we can activate all of them. See, that's 3. Now we still have another Infernity Barrier. So now we will special summon the rest. First I'm going to send... we have not used this one yet, so I'm going to put a counter there, because we have not used that Necromancer. We've used this one. So... obviously I'll use that one, that, and I'll probably just use IP. It really does not matter too much. You could use Dark instead if you want. So I'll use the effect of Necromancer to, or let's see. Yep, I'll use the effect of Necromancer to special summon the Infernity Archfiend. Now I'll use the effect of Infernity Archfiend. I could grab me a barrier. That is definitely something I could do. But another thing I could also do is grab something just to discard off of Barricade Board Blocker to grab up the launcher back for next turn, because with Rusty, we can get 2 Fog Blades already, which will probably fill up these last 2 slots. Well, sure, getting another Infernity Barrier would be really nice. We can use this to set up for next turn. So I'll grab me. So we just added the Infernity Necromancer. Now, at this point, there's multiple things like we want to do. Like we want to go at either Apollosa or Barricade Blocker or both. Now we do have to leave 1 Infernity on the field. So first I'm going to use the effect of Rusty, which will allow us to send a Phantom Knight to grave to set a Fog Blade to the field. Then I can banish the Fog Blade to add, or not banish the Fog Blade, banish the Phantom Cloak to add Fog Blade, which I'll then set. Now we can go into the Barricade Blocker if we wanted to. But the unfortunate thing is, then we won't be able to go into the Apollos, because we got to leave the Archfiend up so we can activate our barriers. Now we can use the Star User Skuldred, Dark, and Infernity Necromancer to go into Apollosa. It'll be a 3 Negate Apollosa. So, to grave. As much as going into Barricade Blocker to get a launcher back would be nice. Unfortunately, we can't. Might have been able to do it somewhere earlier in the combo, but. So I'll grab the Apollosa. So one. to 3 counters. And this is where we pass turns. So we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 negates. And if we didn't have Call by the Grave, I went to grab this and I would have grabbed the Infernity Barrier. So we'd have 8 negates. Now obviously if your opponent has an Ash Blossom or an Imperm or a Veiler or even a Ghost Ogre, that can really mess up this deck quite a bit. Like as you can see, although Call by the Grave can be a disruption in of itself, considering one of the best decks right now is Tearlament, and this will end that deck. So I kind of hope they bring it up to 3. And my friends, this is what I call the best hand. So I will set the call by because we drew it, unfortunately. Set that. I'll just go ahead and activate it. Now I'll declare Bigfoot. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what we like to see. So we're going to summon the Bigfoot. Draw 1 card. Necromancer. That's what I like to see. And we have not normaled, so I'll normal Necromancer. Yeah, it gets changes to defense, and I will use this effect to special Infernity Archfiend. Now I will use Infernity Archfiend's effect to I want to grab another Necromancer. Now I'll use the launcher effect to send it to the graveyard. Now I will link summon for the I'll use Barricade Board Blocker. Unfortunately, Infernity Archfiend is a level 4, which kind of sucks. Now I will send the launcher. Or actually, no. I forgot I have this. I will activate Roll Succession to special Necromancer, effect Necromancer, special Archfiend. And I'll use the effect of Archfiend to I will actually grab me Infernity Mirage, because our next step will be going into Saryuja, which then we can special summon the Mirage and just really pop with it. So send all that to grave. To special summon Saryuja. Now I'll draw 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'll keep the Nessie, so the rest of it. So the Imperm and others, that just go to the bottom, but we're going to go searching through it anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I'll use the effect of Saryuja to special the Mirage, effect Mirage, to special summon my 2 Necromancers. Then I'll use the effect of this one. I'll put a token, or counter there that shows that I've used it. So I will special Infernity Archfiend. Then I'll use the effect to add. Guess I'll add a Bury to hand. Oh, before I do that, I'd have to use the effect of Nessie. So before I use the effect of Mirage, I'd use the effect of Nessie to discard itself, which would essentially I would add Tsushinoko and then special it, or use the effect and it special itself. So now I will link. I'll link it to Barricade or Blocker using that Necromancer and the Archfiend. Actually, I put it over here. So now I'll use the effect of this one to special the Infernity Archfiend. Then I'll use this effect to add. I can go for either another barrier or I can go for the Patriarch. That really kind of just depends on what you want to do. Patriarch, you can essentially special summon it from the hand, so it's just another body on the field. So I think for right now, I'll just go barrier. Set the barrier. Not to mention, I still have not used my secondary launcher effect, which I'll use to special summon Necromancer twice more. So which means I can use Infernity Archfiend like another 2 times, so I will special summon. Actually, I will go Cherubini. Then I'll use the effect of Cherubini. Too foolish. Conjure. Then I will link into the Rust using Infernity Archfiend and Cherubini. So I will send the launcher to special summon my 2 Necromancers. I'll use the effect of this Necromancer to special summon my Infernity Archfiend back from the grave. Archfiend effect again to add another card. Let's see. I got 2 barriers. So, let's see, what are our plays here? I can go for double Fog Blade or triple Infernity and 1 Fog Blade. That's something I could do. But I think my next play is going to be getting... Yeah, I'm going to get another barrier. And I will set it. Now I will link these 2 off. Actually, no. Instead of getting that, I am going to get the other Necromancer, so that will be in my hand. Because I'm going to grab me. Oh, I've already used it. I already used it, never mind. So, if I had another Barricade or Blocker, I would have done that to grab a launcher back during the end phase, so. I probably should have maybe gone into IP instead of the first Barricade or Blocker. So I'll just have the barrier. which I will set. So then I will use the effect of Necromancer to special summon Infernity Archfiend. Now I'll use that to add I'll grab me this is where I'll grab the Infernity Patriarch. To hand. So then I will special summon it off its own effect. Then I will link. Yeah, like 1, 2, 3. I can't even tell how much that attack that has. For a 4 negate Apollosa. Then we activate Rusty. Which will essentially get us 2 Fog Blades. So Rusty we will set the one, foolish that, banish that to add this to hand. Actually, no. I'll actually leave that in the deck, and this will remain in the grave, because otherwise we can't activate the barriers. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, or no, say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 negates, and the call by grave. So I guess you could say 9 negates. Well, the call by grave is a specific negate. So yeah, this is essentially how I play Infernities. As you saw, I didn't really brick too much. Like, well, obviously you didn't see it, but there's like one hand where I like bricked really hard. But if you open Infernity Archfiend and Launcher, that's almost always going to get you to the 8+ negates. Yeah, imagine if Launcher was at 3. I did all that with one Launcher. If Launcher was 3, and not to mention we could search it off of Archfiend, yeah, I'd be summoning so much I wouldn't even know what to do with it. Like, I'd just say, you know, Foil Swords Link Forward. Let's summon it. Just for no reason. That'd just be downright absolutely insane. Although they probably could bring Infernity Archfiend 2-3, in my opinion. So, yeah, this is my Infernity combo kind of tutorial. Show you how I play the deck. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit. So, I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.